Hi, everybody. We are here ready to present to you the second batch of the Accelerator program of Forward Factory. This is Lucia Chiarchia from Gelify, and together with me, Andrea and Stefano, Andrea Landini from Gelify as well, and Stefano Molino from Cassa Depositi e Prestiti. Let's wait approximately 5 minutes because we suppose that some people need some time to connect, and then we will start to introduce you the program. For all the audience member who has just connected, we are waiting just other 2 minutes, and then we start. Okay, let's start. So here, Lucia again. We are super excited to introduce you again for the second time our Forward Factory Accelerator, an initiative designed by Cassa Depositi e Prestiti together with Gelify to boost the startup ecosystem, to accelerate startup having solutions that are B2B software, so digital solution to innovate manufacturing world, manufacturing sector. Together with me today, our friends, so we have Andrea Landini, who is the program manager of Forward Factory. He's also one of the managing partners in Gelify, covering also this special initiative regarding the orchestration of Accelerator and the launch of Accelerator initiatives. So Andrea, welcome again.
Hi, everyone. Hi, thank you, Lucia. Hi.
So Andrea. And then we have Stefano Molino. senior partner and head of the Accelerator Fund as Cassa Depositi e Prestiti. So Stefano, nice to meet you again for the second time on this stage.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for having me here today.
Super. So after this super short welcome, Stefano will give you an introduction of the Italian ecosystem and all the innovation initiative Cassa Depositi e Prestiti is putting in place, and how this forward factory is integrated in this special ecosystem CDP is building. Then I will give you a flavor, let me say, the key elements regarding the manufacturing evolution we are all living in the startups, investor, and corporate ecosystem. And then I will be pleased to introduce you to the Forward Factory program, and specifically the partner who like to join us in order to accelerate these startups. Andrea will give you then the details of the acceleration program, try to answer to the typical question that can come to the mind of startups, trying to understand whether this program can fit their growth and why. And then, of course, a Q&A session, so feel free to raise your question directly, even during our speech, typing, even question, comments, or reflection that you can have in mind. We'll try to answer to the key questions today, immediately after the webinar, and then to the other potential open points, we will come back to you individually in order to be sure that all the startups in target with this program can jump on the program the next year. So let's start with Stefano. Stefano will help you, assisting you in changing the slide. So what about Italian ecosystem and what about your program in Cassa Depositi e Prestiti?
So thank you, Lucia, for the intro. So I will try today to provide you a brief overview of the activity of CDP Venture Capital, and particularly how we see also the evolution of the market and why we are doing what we are doing in trying to help and support the growth of the VC and startup ecosystem in the country. So if you can go ahead next. So that's basically, I will start with this overview that is basically showing how we see let's say the evolution of the Italian market. So if we look at the international landscape, what we are experiencing in the last few months is that the VC industry is start to slow down a bit in terms of investment at international level. This is happening particularly in US, is happening in China as well, and it started to happen in Europe. On the contrary, what I think is interesting to see is that the Italian market is continuing to grow in a very consistent way. So we have experienced last year was 2021, the first year that we overcome 1 billion of overall investment in venture capital in the country for the first time ever. And now our projection for 2022, which is almost close, are showing us that we'll probably end up overcoming the 2 billion of size of overall investment in venture capital in the country, which is definitely a very good news because it's showing up a good momentum in terms of operation, in terms of number of also investors, not just Italian one, but also international investors that are coming in the country, that are starting to look at the Italian landscape as some of the area of the next wave of investment and venture capital in Europe, which is definitely something that is positive. On the other end, of course, we have to keep in mind that if we compare the Italian market with other European countries, still we are lagging behind. So if you compare the size of the market of the venture capital industry in Italy compared to Spain, France, or Germany, or don't even mention UK, it's still a smaller market. So what we think is important is to continue to push and continue to help the Italian ecosystem to grow and to recover time and to bring the Italian market to the same level of the other European countries in terms of number of startups, but also in terms of number of operators and in connection with the different actors of the ecosystem. So if you can go to the next slide. So this is definitely something that we are doing CDP. So we started, it was a couple of years ago. We currently have around 1.8 billion of asset under management. We are totally dedicated to investing in startups. we have 10 active funds that are covering all the different stages. So we start from the very, very early stage, even before the startup exists, because we have a technology transfer fund, which is dedicated to bring innovation from the university labs, from the research centers labs, up to the market, so even before the startup exists. And we continue to invest with the acceleration fund and with the Series A and later stage fund, covering all the different stages of the startup in the value chain. But more than that, what I think is important is not just the money, but is the fact that we are trying to create connections. So the point of helping and connecting all the different actors, so the research center, the university, the accelerators, the incubators, the corporates, and the investor, all together, really creating those kind of elements that can foresee and create the foundation for the sustainable growth of the market in the next years. If you can go ahead, please. So basically, what we are doing, in particular, with particular focus on the Accelerator Fund, which is the fund that I'm responsible for. So we are working in creating vertical acceleration program like Forward Factory, starting from industries and areas where Italy is relevant. So this is something which is very important for us. So we want to build something building on something that already exists in terms of know-how, in terms of knowledge, in terms of ecosystem. So definitely we selected areas where we think that there is a good environment, a good landscape in terms of knowledge, in terms of talent, in terms of industrial connection. And the idea is that to create those vertical programs where we can help startups that are, of course, in the initial phase of their development to really validate their business model, validate their product roadmap, create connection with the industrial players, test their solution on the real ground, and so create the the condition for those startups to grow. And then, of course, on top there is the funding. So we, of course, are investors. So our goal and our job is to invest in the startups. So we want to do that with our partner like Jellyfy, which are, of course, specialized and so deeply rooted in the connection with the industry, and co-invest alongside them and alongside our corporate partners in the best opportunity. So we're going to invest in all the startups that are selected to enter in the acceleration program, not just the beginning, but also we plan to continue to invest to really support also the startup in the next phases of their development. So if you can go ahead, please. So what's this our model? So basically, we have defined a kind of internal secret sauce and secret formula for this program. So first of all, we think we need to work with what we call the best practice, the players. So the best national or international accelerators. We partner with them, so they on one side they co-invest with us, but they are also running the program, leveraging on their connection, their network, and their consolidated expertise in managing those acceleration programs. We pair them with local operators that already know the Italian ecosystem, particularly through when we deal with international players that are deeply rooted also in the local ecosystem and local connection. And the third element, which for us is very extremely important, are the corporates. So all our programs are corporate driven. So we have many relevant corporate joining our program, participating in the program, working with the startups that can on one side see this as an opportunity to really scout what are the new innovation, new technology, new solution can really help to find a solution for their industry need. And on the other hand, for the startup, this is a very, very important boost for their acceleration because they help them to validate the solution in the real context, in the real market, and to bring those technologies to the market as well. So this is definitely something that is happening in Forward Factory as well. In terms of the network, we are already 15 acceleration programs running in the country. I'm not going to each of them, of course, but the idea is that the secret formula for us is that we want to focus in areas that are relevant. We want to provide to those startups connection, mentorship, real business opportunity, and funding. And this is something that is happening in Forward Factory and creates the opportunity also to connect those programs together so that we are building the foundation for new startups that can enter in the market and then can attract further funding. And this is not just for Italian startups; they can be also for international startups. So the idea is that if the startups are really looking at Italy as an interesting market for them, we welcome them to join the program. We ask them to have an operational activity in Italy, because for us it's important to create those kind of connection, but they can see Italy as a launchpad, for example, for their European expansion. Next, please. Just a few numbers to recap what we are doing. So we have already, received more than 2,000 applications. We already have more than 350 startup participating in our selection days, where the startup are meeting with us, of course, with the operators, with the corporate partner, with all the, the institutional partner are joining the program. We have selected more than 170 and accelerated more than 140, and many of them are already, funding other rounds, are already receiving other funding for the next phase of their development. So the bottom line is really that we are really happy to be here and waiting to see the best opportunity to continue to support the growth of those startups in the Italian ecosystem as well. Thank you.
Stefano, thank you so much. So guys, our intention is, before introducing you for Factory, is to give you a clear understanding of the incredible ecosystem CDP is putting in place together with different partners, because we think that ecosystem-driven acceleration model is the real model to boost, in general, enterprises in different sectors, including manufacturing, of course. So now, in order to better understand Forward Factory positioning and the program itself, I would like you to describe another context that is not the Cassa Depositi e Prestiti context, but is the manufacturing context. So what's happening in the manufacturing sectors, and specifically, what about the relationship between corporates and the startups? Yes, because we think that they are redesigning the path towards innovation. So if we look at corporates, and when I say corporates, I mean not only large corporations, but also big and medium, even sometimes small enterprises producing different kind of solutions, physical solution for the market. So first of all, their technology asset is evolving. And now they are not simply looking at new technical solutions in order to explore new technology path. They're really trying to understand and test how they can integrate those solutions into their asset. Because for example, if a technology from a startup is a part of a corporate asset, the kind of acceleration you can have in the business is totally different. So I like to say we want to move beyond the proof of concept. And then another point, the strategy redesign. In many cases, especially when we look at the software solution for manufacturing, we are trying to, move from a pure CapEx approach, where mainly the machines for manufacturing are part of our investment strategy, to an OpEx approach that actually require a new business model, a new financial model that leverage the synergy, the collaboration between the different players, or even following new collaborative model. So the governance is totally changing. Some years ago, in the Italian ecosystem, the corporations started to get in touch with the startups. They start to do some pilot with the successful results. Now we are moving beyond this kind of collaboration, to be honest, that yes, it can work if you want to touch the ground. But if you want to make innovation happen, you have to move to what we can call the venturing model. That means that you can start to invest in startups. You can start to experiment with them to redesign manufacturing ecosystem. So that's also the kind of point of view from corporation. And this is the reason because, as Stefano said, some corporates decided to invest together with us in this initiative. When I say invest, I mean they don't just sponsor marketing cost. They really have invested in the equity of this company that is Forward Factory Accelerator. So consequently, they are reshaping totally their skills from pure vertical skills in a specific area of manufacturing to more hybrid competencies, digital and manufacturing, for example. Automation is moving from a old style model from the 80s, many coming from Germany, where we are mainly focused on high level of automation, to a model where actually smart automation is the key, because we want to have a flexibility. We want to enable our ability to calibrate the operational strategy according to the challenges from the supply chain. So not just operational excellence, but also integrated collaboration platforms. And then, of course, we are not speaking just about operational excellence. We are speaking about new business streams and new revenue streams that are data-driven. So moving from a pure transactional business model to what we can call a relationship business model. Startups can make the difference. Startup can provide to corporates not just a technical solution, innovative use cases, but also an entrepreneurial mindset that can contaminate, inspire, and even drive corporates in innovation delivery. They can provide their vision that actually are moving from a pure digital DNA to a more physical mindset, where actually startups require to be contaminated by the corporate's market heritage to better understand the best value proposition to propose. And then, in terms of value proposition, they just don't just need to validate what they have in mind, what they have in their investor pitch. They have to make this proposition evolve to be totally aligned with dynamics in the market. Then they have to try to design from the very beginning a scalable model, because if they focus only on the best path for the MVP, sooner or later they will not be able to satisfy the market's need, because that's the typical question from a corporate. I'm sure that we can run a proof of concept together. I'm sure that the result will be positive, but what about scalability? How can we integrate this solution into 20, 50 factories worldwide? Okay, that's the industrialization phase that we have to work from day zero. Okay, we can't wait for the final need. So that's the reason, because the acceleration need, so this acceleration program can start simply from the technology content. It should be focused on the company, because startups are new companies that actually can leverage a new technology, but then actually they have to deploy a new business for manufacturing. We have decided to launch these initiatives in Italy, not just because we are Italian, okay, and we partner with CDP, but because we think that actually the Italian ecosystem represents a perfect territory for innovation in manufacturing. 50 billion euro, the investment to digitalize, innovate, and create a competitive advantage. We are the 6th country in the world for export of manufactured product. 470,000, so the companies in the manufacturing sector. 17% the added value derived from the Italian product for manufacturing sector. 8% the increase in venture capital deals in the last 2020, and now we are updating the last numbers as well. And then 58% growth in the manufacturing sector during the last year. So they are amazing number, and they prove that Italy is the ideal field to build our factory. That is our acceleration program dedicated to the innovative digital startups for the manufacturing sector. So let's now try to discover who are the partners of this fantastic program and where it's focused on. So the focus is clear. We are speaking about an acceleration program specifically focused on digital, of course, B2B, innovative startup for manufacturing, for all the manufacturing domains, of course. We are speaking about 165 euro investment in the equity of the startup, with an equity from 5 to 15% for each startup. We have designed a very innovative acceleration program designed for manufacturing digital startups. Intensive program, 6 months, 3 months together with Jolify, and 3 months together with the corporate partners. During this period, you will be able to run a proof of concept with this corporate, not just to validate your solution, but to make your value proposition evolve in reference to the challenges from the manufacturing market. So these corporations will allocate their resources, competencies, experiences in order to make you to design and execute a successful proposition. And then, of course, as also Stefano highlighted, the network. Network is crucial, network of other industries, network of other investors, a network of subject matter experts that can support you in make your value proposition jump into the market. Who are the partners? Of course, Cassa Depositi e Prestiti, so the Fondo Nazionale Innovazione, so National Innovation Fund for our friends out of Italy. They, as Stefano described, they operate through direct and indirect investment funds to support startups in all stages of their life cycle. They want to make the venture capital system a sort of cornerstone of the Italy's economic development and innovation. Then we have Jellyfy, that's us. We are a B2B innovation platform. From one side, we invest in a B2B digital scale-ups, mainly not startup usually. And from the other side, we support the corporation in the design and execution of a technology roadmap to integrate those sophisticated technology coming from startups. And then we have manufacturing partners. Here, 2 examples, Angelini Industries and SCM Group. Actually, they both represent not just manufacturing, but manufacturing machinery producers. So they could integrate your technical solution into their machine to innovate the manufacturing footprint for their clients. So Angelini Industries, the national group operating in the pharmaceutical, large consumption, and industrial machinery. It will be represented by Fameccanica, an international group in automation and robotics for the consumer good industry. And then we have SCM, world leader in technology for processing a wide range of materials, wood, plastic, glass, stone, metal, even composite materials. And then we have the end users. Again, our partner can represent end users in manufacturing. We have Comer Industries, the leading global leader in advanced mechatronic system for power transmission. They work in agricultural machinery, construction equipment, even energy and industry as well. And then we have VIS Hydraulics. It is one of the top 10 companies in the world in its sector, that is cartridge valves for hydraulic applications. And then we have a small enterprise, Poggipolini, actually a small enterprise, but actually working for the top player in aerospace and automotive. They they play in what we call precision mechanics. They are world leader in design and production of special bolts for, again, aerospace and automotive sports car sectors. And then we have, guys, the European community. EIT Manufacturing, they are the innovation community for manufacturing in the European community within the so-called European Institute of Innovation and Technology. And then we have a very famous partner of Jellyfy, Industrio Ventures, that is the first hardware accelerator in Italy, which invests in innovative, what you call product startups. So they represent our friend beyond the digital. And then we have another important partner who is Auxiell. Auxiell is a consulting company specialized in the complete lean transformation. Yes, because you can't think to digitalize a process if you haven't first applied lean in all the processes in the plant. Now we give I'll leave the stage to my friend Andrea, who will give an introduction of the details of the acceleration program in order to make you to understand the innovative and distinctive element of what we have designed for you.
Thank you, Lucia. So now we are ready to start talking about the program, where you will be the protagonist for 6 months. Just want to remind that you will record We remind you that we will record this event, so you will receive the recording in your inbox at the end of the event. And if you have any questions, really, please use the Q&A box, start writing, because as we mentioned, when we start, we will have a Q&A session at the end concerning questions about the acceleration program and the collaboration with corporate partners, while as regards questions relating to investments and other financial and technical aspects of your participation, we will collect all the questions and answer you in the next few days. All the participants will have access to the answers to the questions, so please use this opportunity and write us in the Q&A box. Okay, so let's start by clarifying what we are looking for. We are looking for startups with innovative technologies and digital solutions which can be implemented in production areas and manufacturing processes in order to meet real factory needs. So, for example, a startup that can identify faults in the finished products through computer vision and AI, or a startup that uses augmented reality to guide the operators remotely during a maintenance operation, or a startup that collects data from the machines with IoT sensors and analyze this big data with AI, giving an optimized production plan as a result. So those are just some examples. If you wish to discover more, you can play with the technologies and applications domains directly on our website to discover more about the use cases. But don't worry, if you don't find a use case that fit with yours, don't worry, because it doesn't necessarily mean that you are not qualified to enter to the acceleration program. So write us, submit your application, and we would be more than happy to discuss with you the requirements and the fit with the program in more detail. So again, if you have any questions on this, please write them in the Q&A box here in Zoom, and we will answer to all the questions at the end. So there are in these slides a few extra must-have criteria that we look for. First of all, the startup needs to have an Italian legal entity, or they need to want to enter the Italian market with an Italian legal entity. Perhaps it could be an opportunity to open your own office in Italy. And the founders will also need to have the opportunity to attend in person some of the acceleration activities that will occur in Bologna, as well as the manufacturing corporate facilities. So our team will evaluate all the relevant aspects for being successful during the program, such as the idea, the team, the project status, the business potential, and in particular, we will verify if the startup has already got a working prototype or an MVP, at least, that could be further developed during the POC phase with the corporate partners. And finally, we will verify if the solution can be applied in the digital manufacturing domain. So, okay, thank you. Regarding the funding, the selected startups will receive an investment of 165,000 euros. That includes access to all the acceleration program activities, as well as the development of the POC with a corporate partner. There is also the opportunity to receive a follow-on investment of 400,000 euros from Forward Factory at the end of the program, directly after the demo day. So what are the steps you will go through if you decided to apply and get selected? Okay, first of all, you will be able to send us your application by the end of the year. You can find the form on our website, and at the end of the presentation, there will also be a QR code that you can scan directly, and it will bring you to the right page. My colleagues will then select and contact the startups that matches the requirements in order to verify the correct fit with the program. Between January and April, we will sign the agreements of 165,000 euros investment with each of the selected startups. And we will officially start the program on the 24th of April till the 27th of October with the final demo day. But what will it happen between April and October? We see in the next slides. We have called the first 3 months of the program Build to Scale. And in this phase, we will reinforce the business idea by building the foundations to create scalable solutions in the world of digital manufacturing. We will kick off this first half of the program with the warm-up event, and where the selected startups will meet the corporate partners, and we start a discussion on preferences for developing the POC. So between July and October, there will be the second phase of the program, which is called Factory Unlock, where each startup will be involved in the creation of a POC developed in collaboration with one of the manufacturing companies, which also serves as an investor, of course, in the program, and with the Forward Factory team to arrive at the demo day, not with the usual slides, but with one use case that's ready to take off. Looking at the Build to Scale program more in detail, during the first 3 months, the startups will participate in the training program that has dedicated sessions with the Accelerators ecosystem experts, such as one-to-one mentorship coaching sessions, vertical bootcamp on key topics, for example, product marketing and sales. Our experts have a deep industry investment and entrepreneurship experience, and they will work with you during the first 3 months. They will be on hand to support you, in fact, to help you move faster while your team grows. Each startup will be paired with one of the investor partner companies to identify their first dedicated pilot project, the POC we mentioned before. The matches will be based on the best fit between the startup application and technology environment and the specific needs of the company. So during the Factory Unlock Scale, in the next slide, right, the startups and the corporate partners will work side by side to develop the POC in the in the real factory environment with the support of the Accelerators experts. The startups will be able to work also in dedicated spaces provided by the corporate partners to develop their own solutions and experience the real factory. So each startup will then pitch the solutions and the results of the POC to a broader audience of investor, media, and leading manufacturing companies in the sector. Finally, I just want to tell you about a few extra details on the POC. First of all, we will identify the best match between startups and corporates, and we will define the best startups for readiness, needs, and availability to deliver the POC, as well as define the perimeter of the POCs, including the requirements from the corporates. So during the execution phase of the POC, we will support you with checkup calls to understand progress and in particular to help you removing blockers and solving potential problems to make sure you are ready to present the final results during the demo day in October. Okay, so brilliant. Now we are ready to answer to all of your questions. If you have any question, please use the Q&A box that you can find on the screen. As anticipated, we will answer directly to questions on the program and on the collaboration with corporates. As regards instead questions relating to investments and other technical and financial aspects, we will collect all your questions through the Q&A, and we will answer you in the next few days, writing and circulating the answers for the benefit of all the participants in this presentation event. On the right side of the screen, you also see a QR code. And if you scan it, it will bring you directly to the application page in our website, where you can submit your startup for the evaluation phase. And of course, we hope to receiving all your participations and all your applications in the next few days. That's all. Thanks from me. I pass the word again to Lucia. Good Q&A to all of you, and see you soon with some of you inside the Forward Factory.
Thanks, Andrea. We are already receiving questions. Actually, I started to answer typing in the chat. Okay, so let me try to summarize the clarification I have done so far. First of all, some comments regarding the scalability driver. Okay, this is a comment valid for any kind of startup, but specifically when we speak about manufacturing, if we don't design properly, not just the technology, guys, but mainly the value proposition and the business model, we risk that the technology works. It works, but you are not able to scale up. That's the point. This is the reason because from the very beginning, we have tried to identify all the critical elements that actually represent enables drivers for scalability. And we will work from the very beginning with the partners of the acceleration program in order to unblock these scalability drivers. For example, the value proposition design, but also the business model, the channel creation, the partnership model, and so on and so forth. Okay, so of course we don't cover everything. We'll focus on the critical elements, but my message is that you can't wait to have the need to scale up to focus on the scale up driver. Okay, you have to design from day zero. Then another comment, another piece of answer, mainly clarification, mainly make reference to the question from Fernando. Please notice that, as Andrea described, the Forward Factory program is a focus on B2B digital, that means software as a service startups. Sometimes probably you have a piece of the software, you haven't designed yet a real software platform. Okay, we are here for that, to help you to create a software product driven company. Okay, in order to enable again the scalability. If you don't have, if you're not in target, if you think you're not in target, but you have anyway a solution for manufacturing, my suggestion, that just to avoid the ping pong in LinkedIn, mail you with me. Okay, so my suggestion is apply anyway to Forward Factory, and we as Jellyfy, we will try to understand whether we can have other initiative or partners that can help you, okay, to accelerate your idea, even if it doesn't match to Forward Factory strategic areas. Okay, so that's my suggestion, mainly just to avoid that all the startups having something probably not aligned with Forward Factory will write to me in LinkedIn. That will happen anyway, but okay. Good. Then we have a question, Andrea, probably from another Andrea. I can leave to you. Is the startup be incorporated to participate in Forward Factory cohort? So I don't know whether we got to probably your question, but probably we can explain how works in general the investment approach and our participation in the equity.
Yeah, as I mentioned before, we prefer to reply to these kind of questions with our investment team. So we collect all these right questions about the investment and the technical mechanism to participate to the program, like this question, and we will answer with writing you directly an email in the next few days, maybe tomorrow. I think tomorrow. So we have adopted this party line to be clear on these specific and delicate topics.
Anyway, general guidelines we can give Andrea. So probably in this case we can answer. No, I mean, of course, it is an accelerator. We will invest in the equity of the startup. So it means that actually there will be a participation from Forward Factory.
Of course.
So we can highlight again, even if it is implicit for us, okay?
Yes, of course. There is a range of 10–15% in terms of equity that is defined with each startups for the money we indicated during the presentation. So of course there is an investment, and this investment is focused on startups that are in the first stages of their development, and we negotiated with each startup a range from 10 to 15% of participation, and this is some of the aspects we manage after the selection phase, when we select the startups, and before, of course, the signing and the access to the investment and to the acceleration program. We define these aspects with the startup.
Thanks, Andrea. There is another question I think we can answer from Giulio. We are a Swiss company with a branch in Italy. Are we eligible for this kind of acceleration project? I would say absolutely yes. Probably we can use this question to highlight also these kind of cases.
Yes, of course. As we mentioned during the presentation, you need to set up a company related to yours in Italy to establish so a new company in Italy. But of course, foreign companies from abroad, from Swiss, from other countries are more than welcome, and it could be a great opportunity. The acceleration program and this requirement to establish a company in Italy, not just or to move your company in Italy to access the program. It's an opportunity not just to receive the investment, but I think I would like to underline to access to an Italian network of companies and the network of companies described by Lucia during the presentation, where Italy is a top-ranked ecosystems in terms of opportunity for these kind of startups in this field.
If I can I add just one comment on so just to mention, let's say the general idea behind is that even if you are a foreign startup, if you have a real strong business reason to come to the country, then of course it's you need to create some kind of operational activity, and this is important for us because of course being part of CDP, our goal is to contribute to the growth of the Italian ecosystem, to attract talent. So I think the idea is that you have to create a Italian legal entity, but this should be driven by the fact that you see, real business opportunity to come to the country and to work with the corporate partner that are joining the program. No, that should be so there should be a real business reason. No, so we don't want to force anyone to come to Italy if there is no point to come to Italy. No, just to be clear.
Exactly, Stefano.
Yeah.
I take another question that actually it's very interesting as a case. Gianmarco, he's highlighting the fact that they are a software as a service B2B company, okay? And if I got properly, mainly they offer a solution that could be applicable to manufacturing ecosystem, but also beyond. So actually we are mainly focused on solutions that have been designed for manufacturing sector. But if you have developed a software that can create value for manufacturing, and even in other sectors, I don't know, retail or services, please apply, okay? Because the final target is to innovate manufacturing sector. Then it can happen, and I would say it's fantastic. It could happen that we can have software that can be applied in cross sectors applications, okay? So Gianmarco, good point, thanks. Then we have Luca. What are the companies of the first batch? I don't know whether you had the partner of the startups. I will answer both. The partners, so the corporate partners, are exactly the same because they are the partner of not just the program of the company that is Forward Factory. Forward Factory is a company, okay? So from Angelini Industries to SCM and so on and so forth, they are partner from day zero, okay? They will not change, they are there. Point number two, from the other side, if you intend the startups, actually we are going to publish an important communication, also including some stories about the first batch that was confidential still some time ago, okay, some weeks ago, because actually we are approaching the final day of batch one. So yes, there is a small overlapping between the two batches. So you will see very soon on our media, not just the name of the startups, but also some stories about their experiences, what they have done, and so on and so forth. So we have also created a sort of backstage communication plan to make you, the overall manufacturing ecosystem composed by startups and the corporate, understand what happens in the backstage of an accelerator like a Forward Factory. Then what else? With the, okay, good point, Gloria, thanks. With the product at an advanced stage of development, can we participate in the program? Andrea, if you don't mind, I like to take.
Yeah.
Okay, because this is the typical, the typical challenge of a startup in general, but specifically in manufacturing. Okay. I think that here we are focused on not scale up. We are focused on startup, okay, that can receive value from a program like Forward Factory, so that actually require an acceleration program to redesign value proposition, business model, to experiment with the corporate partner, and so on and so forth. So one side, I would say, young enough, okay? But on the other side, I would say not too early stage, because my recommendation is that you should have a piece of technology that can make us able to run a proof of concept. Otherwise, guys, it's too early, because you can't take advantage from the experimentation activity, let's call proof of concept, together with the corporate. It happened to us during last year deal flow to get in touch with fantastic startups with fantastic solutions, but not yet ready to run a proof of concept in a manufacturing corporate. So we have suggested them to apply again this year, okay? Again, if you have adapt, my recommendation, our recommendation is apply anyway, because then you will be part of our deal flow. So actually, we will stay in contact, okay? And we will try to understand when it is the best moment for you to apply and to be accelerated.
Yeah, I completely agree with Lucia. There are two ways to answer these questions. From the industrial partnership point of view, it's exactly what Lucia said. So if you have a more mature solution, it could be also a not too mature, but not just maybe an MVP. It's better for you as a startups in terms of opportunity to collaborate with the corporate partners of the programs. Of course, this these aspects should fit with the evaluation, because from the other side, we are investing a specific amount of money for a specific for a specific equity in the range I said before. So you need to find this kind of fit, because if you are too mature, maybe for example, the investment terms couldn't fit, could not fit in your phase of maturation as business, not just as technical products. If you really find the two fits, so from the industrial point of view and from the investment side, you win, because you will find, of course, the investment, the money, the support in terms also of acceleration and business services from the program, and a range of very interesting manufacturing companies that will be very interested to collaborate with your startups, with your solution. Specifically, if you haven't just an MVP, but something more solid and more mature.
Another question from Donato, that is really a question for Stefano. We can have sometimes startups who have already executed, concluding a program, another program with another accelerator with a Cassa Deposito e Prestiti. So they wonder whether they can apply and participate. So I don't know whether Stefano can join us again. Anyway, piece of answer super quickly. Apply, and then we evaluate case by case. Stefano, please.
No, really, yeah. So I think, of course, for us, we don't have any specific rule to limit, the participation of the startups to the program. So I think, you have the opportunity to apply like any other opportunity, any other startup that are joining. So they will be evaluated about the fit to the program and with the corporate partner as any other startup.
Thanks a lot, Stefano. Then we have from Gloria, do we have any guidelines on spending investment money? Okay, you don't have to go to Maldives. Okay. Anyway, Stefano, if you want to comment together with Andrea.
No, I mean, not really. I think it really depends on the, the specific stage of the company and the specific, opportunity. And as Lucia was saying, I think for us it's particularly important the fact that we are really helping the company to, to go to the market and to be ready to develop POC with corporate partners. And so that should be the case, no? And then of course that will be evaluated on a case by case, considering also the status of the company. There might be, of course, the situation where our investment could also be linked with, other investors joining alongside us, so create a bigger round. So it really depends. So we cannot have a general formula for every startup.
Exactly. Super. Then another important question from Fausto regarding the ownership of the intellectual property of the idea, or specifically, okay, the software application. So the question is, does the intellectual property, blah, blah, still belong to the startup or to somebody else? No, guys, come on. The intellectual property in general is yours. Then here we don't have special rules regarding forward factory. I mean, as in all the business, you have your product, you have to protect. In case you run a project, an experimentation project, for example, with a corporation, and you design together a new use case that could generate a new piece of intellectual property, there could be a co-development opportunity, but you have to define in advance. What we can do as Forward Factory, we can support you in defining the perimeter, okay, in these cases. But to be honest, considering the maturity of the solution you can bring to the corporates, we think that the IP is yours, period. Okay, super, super easy. Is it mandatory to open the sharing of the capital of the company? I mean, I suppose you mean the participation in the equity. I suppose that's my interpretation.
Yeah, I think so.
So just like give a piece and then I give you to you guys. I mean, in general, I know that there could be some acceleration program that can sponsor some initiatives, some support. In this case, actually, we give you we give you money, okay? And this money is translated on top of all the services of the accelerator, okay? And this money represents a percentage of your equity, okay? That we discuss case by case, let's say from 5 to 50%. So you should be open to have another piece of partner like us in your cap table. That's if I got properly your question, Enrico.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Go, Stefano.
No, I just just to add on that. Of course, I mean the structure of the deal. This is something that, of course, as Andrea was saying, we will define more in more detail. Not answering, specific question later on, but just to comment. Of course, we are investors, no? So we are here to, let's say, invest and to continue to invest. So this is definitely something that, so we are providing money in exchange of equity. There are, the tool is a convertible, so it's also has a kind of flexibility, also in terms of, condition and valuation. So we're trying to replicate the model, which is as close as possible to the safe model. So I think this is something that, of course, is pretty common in market standard. I'm sorry, but I have to leave now because I had another meeting. So I thank you all for the opportunity to join.
Thanks to you, Stefano. Thank you so
Bye,
much.
Stefano.
See you soon, Stefano.
See you. Bye.
Bye. Okay, super. In the meanwhile, I'll also try to answer to some question in the chat, okay? Because there are some questions that are very specific. So in those cases, I would recommend to discuss individually. So in general, my recommendation to be practical, apply. If you have specific needs, like, for example, somebody highlighted the urgent need to apply to a European tender, or if you are investigating very specific manufacturing sector, whatever, highlight in the application, okay? Yeah. Highlight your need. In this case, of course, we will include your proposal, your solution into our deal flow, but we will check whether we can support you for the specific need you have raised. Okay.
Exactly.
Good.
Okay.
So if you don't have other questions, guys, I would thank everybody for having joined us here in this initiative, and I hope to talk to you soon and discussing your solution. Independently from what you can do or not with the Forward Factory, guys, good luck. We are your fan. We think that startups can be the real booster for all the ecosystem. Here we speak about manufacturing, but we think that you can make the difference everywhere. So we are your fan, guys. Thank you.
See you soon in Forward Factory. Bye.
Bye.